So I'm taking my files and I'm trying to translate them into videos, and these are articles that I have written years ago when I first realized the great impact of an entire hoax-lie system. And I wanted to alert people, including my own family. So I did some writing, but basically it was to no avail. It was in vain. Vanity of vanity. Well, anyhow, if you're about flashy images and you have to have all kinds of flashy images and excellently edited videos, this may not be for you. But I'm going to review a paper that I wrote called Disinformation, Age in Modern America. And I start out saying America is no longer a nation that has accurate and reliable information. Well, probably I should say that America has always been in an age of disinformation. But at the time I wrote this, I didn't realize that we've always been under a hoax-lie system all the way back to the first presses that emerged in America. So the freedom of press is only an illusion to those who thrive on watching TV news and talk shows, and I'll put down their cell phones as well, because their favorite TV newscaster, radio show host are not giving you accurate, reliable, truthful information. Now, truth has suffered a death in America. Now, how much truth did we have before? I don't know, but I think America has always been under propaganda from day one, because remember, we're still a subsidiary of England. We're actually just a corporation that is run by England, but we went from being colonies to corporation. Basically speaking, we've been under propaganda for a long time. Now, supposedly the history of this is that after World War II, there were two individuals who took notice of what happened in Germany and said, we'll never let that happen in the United States. And their names were Smith and Mont, M-U-N-D-T. And so the bill that was passed in 1948 said that America cannot be under propaganda. Now, America can broadcast propaganda to any nation it wants, externally, but internally, there is to be no propaganda. Now, that was the original Smith-Mont Act of 1948. Now, it's going to be revised and updated and modernized in NDAA Section 1078, the year 2013. And what that will do is it will put all media under the control of a board. And the special cabinet or board, the members are appointed by President of the United States. All right? All media. All. What don't you or anyone listening understand about the word all? So these people that mumble and say, well, my news station reports accurate information and I get reliable information from, guess what? It's all hogwash. Okay? So now that would include newspapers and magazines and anything at mom and pop grocery stores, large grocery stores like Walmart. Now, the power of the corporations. And let me flip to my next page. Thank you for hanging in there with me. I realize this type of video is not for everyone because they want the flashy images, because the flashy images keep their attention. All right. Okay, so it's disseminated to all cities and towns. It's kind of like McDonald's. They have burgers and they have fries and they have their pies. And if you have a license to run a McDonald's, you get their burgers and their fries. All right? So that's what happens all across America. They create and film phony news stories and give it to all the news channels and stations across the land. Now remember, every news station, every radio station is under the authority of this board or this cabinet. All right? Which means all information ultimately is government controlled. Now, people love to talk about the land of the free. And we love to talk about Freedom of Information Act, the First Amendment, and all of that kind of stuff. But what is the truth? It's propaganda. And effective propaganda builds up trust. Now they can build that trust up by actually presenting a little bit of truth to you. And remember, rat poison or mice, to get rid of mice, you basically feed them oatmeal. And there's arsenic in the oatmeal. Maybe it's 98% oatmeal and 2% arsenic or a poison. And that's how you get rid of mice, because they keep coming back, coming back, coming back. But they're ingesting poison. Now that's the way it is with the media. You keep coming back, you keep coming back, you keep coming back. And maybe you get some truth, maybe, all right? But you also get poison. And the poison eventually kills your ability to think and kills your ability to reason. And so you just go along with all their nonsense. So you have to go to a concept that was developed by Leon Festinger, who was a psychologist, and that concept is called cognitive dissonance, which states that the mind cannot handle two conflicting things. And the illustration that I use of that is when my sister was told by the neighborhood boy, who was much bigger than my sister, that there was no Santa Claus. And my sister, in her feeble way, and skinny that she was, decided it was time to take a punch at Albert. And by the way, he was fat. He was a fat Albert, okay? But my skinny sister decided she would make a fist and punch him because he told her Santa Claus did not exist. And my sister did not like that. So that's cognitive dissonance for you. You have two things. You're peaceful, everything's calm, and Fat Albert comes along and says, there's no Santa Claus. Okay? Someone comes along and says, Sandy Hoax, not Sandy Hook. All right? Someone comes along and says, there's no atomic bombs to worry about because they don't exist. There's no nuclear missiles. They don't exist. They can maybe go a few miles, but they can't go intercontinental. And they don't have nuclear warheads. They're going to blow up and destroy entire cities. Well, guess what? That's like Fat Albert giving you the news. There's no Santa Claus. So sometimes people want to lurch out at you and give you a punch, all right? And fortunately, I haven't had too much of that, probably because my channels are not that popular. I don't get that many views, and I'm not that much of a threat. But occasionally, there's one or two that are a little bit like that, and they want to just go ahead and punch out at me and tell me, you know, how terrible I am or how wrong I am. And I've had certain videos that have done that. In particular, my video on chess champion, what's his name, that played the Russian, that it really was Leonard Nimoy who played the big chess champion. And oh my gosh, people were so mad at me for that one. Screaming at me, I don't know anything about chess. Well, I play chess. I know a little something. I'm not a champion. You'd probably whoop me if you played chess. Not that I don't know anything about chess. It's the fact that they don't know anything about disguises and deception. Bobby Fischer, that's the name I couldn't pull out of my brain right away. Bobby Fischer. Bobby Fischer is Leonard Nimoy. And his opponent might actually still be Leonard Nimoy, too. He might have done both, played Boris Spassky. All right, so let's go to the next page. Thank you for hanging in there with me. I know it's not the kind of video that gets a lot of views, because everybody wants those flashy images. Okay, America's always had some propaganda, always. But the modern viewer is not aware that we've been propagandized from day one, let alone is the modern viewer aware that we are in propaganda, almost 100% propaganda and no truth, almost. Now, I was brought into this a while back by reading a book about the media in Japan. And in the media in Japan, it is so bad as far as lies and liars and stuff that they'll watch the news and they'll laugh. It's a comedy show. It's like watching one of our comedy shows. They just laugh because it's so stupid. And maybe the Japanese people are a lot smarter than Americans, and we've been certainly fooled about the Japanese, but they sit around and laugh at all these stupid things in the news stories. So you're going to say, where can I get accurate information? Guess what? You're just as stuck as I am. Probably the best accurate information is your own logical ability to think. Take their news stories, flip them upside down, turn them inside out, and you'll see you've got garbage. That's all you've got. So they're feeding you garbage constantly. And why is it so important anyhow to, quote, get news stories? Why don't you just relax, enjoy your life, enjoy your family, enjoy being with your neighbors, enjoy the day. Why do you have to get these news stories? Okay? All media is under control of U.S. government. Get used to it. Accept it. Don't be dumb. Don't be naive and say, oh, I can find a good news channel. Fox News. Yeah, everybody was yelling at it for years. Fox News. And Fox in numerology is 666. And Fox is a sly creature. Just stop listening to it. I don't listen to any of the news. The only way I know what's going on in the so-called news is people around me talk. And basically when they talk, I just tell myself quietly and silently it's all BS. But many people can't do that because they have to turn on their television set. They have to go to their cell phone, to a news channel. And they're addicted. Okay? So the best thing you can do is take yourself off of the so-called news. Okay? And I remember when I did this. I remember it was like a withdrawal from a drug, like a withdrawal from being an alcoholic, like a withdrawal from smoking cigarettes. I had to intentionally find places in restaurants or fast food places where I couldn't see the television set. I did it intentionally. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to hear it. It's hard to do because all these places, they turn everything on to the news. And you'll see people in fast food places or restaurants or bars, their eyes are glued to the news. Unless, of course, it's a sports bar and their eyes are glued to football game, basketball game, baseball game, soccer game, you name it. But remember, I conclude this article with John 8:44. The devil's the father of lies. And so if lies are coming at you, you need to block them. But one way to block them is to invite the Spirit of truth. And that Spirit of truth is called the Holy Spirit, who is third person of Trinity, divine, almighty. Invite the Holy Spirit to rule your life and to rid your life of lies, liars, and lying spirits, and above all, the father of lies. Walk in the Spirit, not in the flesh. If you walk in the Spirit, you can basically blow off any of these lies immediately. I'd like to thank you for watching this video and putting up with these not so colorful, not so flashy videos of some of my writings of years ago. Thank you. End of video.